people, how you doing? I hope you're having a smashing goddamn day. Welcome back to the Brom Squad Gaming channel, and welcome back to another episode number 4 of the Manchester United Tactical Career Mode. I hope you are all enjoying your days, and I hope you're going to be entertained for the next 30 to 40 to 50 to maybe 60 minutes of today, whenever you decide to watch this video. So yes, welcome back. Now, before we kick things off, we've got a jam-packed episode here full of great games. We've got Tottenham, we've got Forest, and it's going to be absolutely insane. I just wanted to run through some of the settings that I'm currently using. Now, beforehand, I was using 5-minute halves. Now I've dropped that down to 4. I think that it reduces the amount of time that you have to score loads of goals, and it will also make the scorelines fairly realistic, simple. I don't want to be going back to Anfield and winning 6-2 again. So there is that. So I've dropped it to 4 minutes. Of course, we also are playing on ultimates because that's your boy's level. As for the game type settings, I have it on authentic with the authenticity features also set to on because it's authentic. As for the window fix, it's on dynamic, so it varies from game to game, from half to half. It's quite nice. I quite like it. As for the weather effects, it's greatly improved for this year. So I have that on. It changes the ball physics, it changes the movements of certain players, and it changes how your game plan needs to be set up, again, from game to game, which I quite like. Now, because I have authentic features on, that means that these sliders are very much set in place, and I don't have an issue with these sliders. However, I have changed the CPU sliders because a lot of you guys have been saying the CPU doesn't look like it wants to score goals, even though the game versus Brighton, I got absolutely killed by Ruta and we ended up beating them 4-2 with a last-minute goal from Maguire and all that good stuff. But nonetheless, I understand, and you guys are looking for entertainment, and you guys are also looking for me to crash out every now and then, which won't be happening because I'm an absolute tactical mastermind and nobody will get the best of me. However, in case they do, I have upped certain things for the custom sliders. Before it was on tactical, now it's on custom. For example, the tackle aggression is going to be slightly higher at 54. Now, what I've noticed with this is, because I have been trying this out, trialing and testing certain things, it allows the CPU defenders to close down the space a bit more, be a bit more aggressive, put in tackles when needed, so you won't have as much time and space on the ball. However, if you are like 3 or 4-0 up, you do see a lot more pockets of space open up, which in my opinion is pretty realistic because the opposing team that's losing, their morale is drained completely. So they're not going to want to put in that extra 10% to try and close down the space. But when the game's still 0-0 or you're chasing a last-minute goal, you will see minimal space opening up, and it does make things a bit more difficult. Now, again, some people have been saying the AI don't want to score goals, so I've put the shot frequency up. So you will be seeing shots flying left, right, and center all over the place, as well as I have tweaked a few other things just to help improve the consistency of the opposition's attacking threats versus my defenders. So those are the new sliders that I will be playing with, and if I do change them, I will let you know. Now, before we hop on into any games, I'm putting this at the beginning of the video because it's utmost important for the future of this career mode. So I would like to know your guys' thoughts and opinions. Now, I have restructured the entire shortlist here for players who I'm going to be targeting in the upcoming transfer window. The January window will be electric. Now, I also need to say this. There are up to 5 players leaving, whether it's a permanent transfer or possibly just a loan. We know that Aiden Heaven, Chido Obi, and so on are going out on loan, but we know that players like Luke Shaw, Tyrell Malacia as well, they're going to be leaving on a permanent basis, meaning we need to replace those players. Now, these are players who are just being targeted for the upcoming window. When that window is closed, I will then add the other players that I had on the shortlist already, and I'll bring them back in. For the left backs, I was very settled on Cardona, but somebody made a fantastic suggestion, and that was I think his name's pronounced Oostervold or Oostervold, Jaden Oostervold. I'm pretty sure that's his name. He's 24 years of age. He's also 6'4". As a left back, that's outrageous. That would also be really cool because we could tweak a few things tactically, and he could be really, really good for us. I would like you guys to really decide in the comment section if we go for a bombing on fullback like Cardona, or if we go for a player like Oostervold, who might just have to change up a certain elements of our tactical approach, you could say. Now, the next area that I am going to look to try and bring a player into is the midfield. There's Sano, there's Cook, there's Onyedika. Now, let's not make memes about this, but could you just imagine a flippin' 30-yard screamer and me shouting this man's surname? That would absolutely crack like crazy. Anyways, next person is Jimmy Garner, former Man United player, and then there's probably my favorite choice because I do like this player a lot, and that is Arne Engels, also from Belgium, which could have that Belgium connection with Senna Lamens and so on. But again, I would like you guys to try and give me the suggestion for the left back as well as the suggestion for the central midfielder / CDM that you want me to sign. Of course, I will take everybody's opinions into consideration before making the big move. Because if you look here, we are in November and the transfer window opens up in 61 days time. So I'd like to know beforehand so that I am prepared and ready for the new players to come in on the 1st of January, or maybe the first week of January or so. But however, for the month of November, we have got Nottingham Forest away. Tough fixture. The Forest fans are going to be up for it. Then we go away to Tottenham. And if anybody knows, Man United have had no luck whatsoever when facing Tottenham of late. We lost them in the Europa League final. We lost them the 3 games before that, and it's been dire. Then we have our first home game of the episode versus the mighty Everton, and we end off the episode with an away game to Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace. Again, another tough away ground to go to. So this is going to be a very difficult career mode episode, and of course with the up sliders and all that good stuff, we might even see your boy take his first L. However, like I mentioned, I'm a tactical genius. So Oliver Glasner, David Moyes, I know you said Ange Postecoglou, but he's going to get sacked from Forest as well. But Ange Postecoglou from Forest, as well as Thomas the Frank Tank Engine, you're all getting it in this episode. Now let's hop on into our first game. So currently, Nottingham Forest are in 11th place. They've won 2 of their last 5 games and they've lost the other 3. They are setting up in a 4-2-3-1. I'm not too sure if we're going to switch up our formation or our approach. However, Ange Postecoglou does like to have a little trick or two up his sleeve, especially when facing United. He could sit back in the filthiest, dirtiest deep block, or he could look to attack and have a massive high line, and we're just going to pass through that high line and score 6 or 7 goals. The key defensive players to look out for are Williams, Murillo, and Milinkovic. Of course, that's their back line. And the key attacking players to watch out for are the 2 wingers. So we already know that they're going to look to attack down the bar line. They're going to look to cut the ball back, cross the ball into the box, and it depends on who they do start, because it does show that Chris Wood might be starting, but Callum Mwendo or Igor Jesus are also good threats in and around the box, whether it's making late runs into that attacking area, or maybe even just being a physical focal point like a Chris Wood for those crosses. I must say, by the way, this Nottingham Forest squad, they are very good. Bakwa, brilliant. Milinkovic, brilliant. Murillo, fantastic. Anderson, superb. Douglas Luiz off the bench, amazing. So they're going to have a lot of options here that they can try and throw at us, but we have our own options too. And because our entire first 11 are fit, I'm not going to make any rotational changes or anything like that. We got to start off this episode with the win. That would be great. And I don't really want to make any other tactical changes. I think it's good as it is. We don't need to do too much about it. If things do change, however, in the game, because we do know that Nottingham Forest are going to look to try and play a bit more of a counter-attacking, fast-paced, vertical style of play against us, then we might change a certain thing here or there. But otherwise, we're heading into this game, our first game of the episode, as is. So if you don't mind, smash that like button down below, as well as subscribing to the channel if you are new. That would be fan-damn-tastic. Casemiro, he's won it back perfectly. What can Mbeumo do? Yeah, he switched it out into Bruno Fernandes, who's given it into Sesko, and he's got the underlapping run of Cunha, who that pass was just very poor from Sesko, I can't lie. And also, Callum Mwendo does start in this game. Very nice. Very, very nice. Sesko, he plays it into Mbeumo, and as you can see there, guys, that is proof that the sliders are working, because beforehand, that pass would have been straight through and Mbeumo's in on goal. Ndoye, he's running inside, but never fear, because Matthias de Ligt, future captain material at least anyway, he's there to block the pass. However, he's given it away, but he's blocked it off yet again. Let's not pass out with de Ligt, please. That was very scary settings. Uh-oh, Bruno Fernandes, he's continued his run, and Sesko has found a fantastic option. There we go. There we go. And Mbeumo, he's in. On goal. Low and hard driven. 30 minutes in. We've really struggled here. We've really struggled. I know I've just scored a goal and I look amazing and all that stuff, but the tactics are working. We've exploited, we've exposed, but to be fair, Forest defense have been very much locked in. They've put in great tackles. They've closed down the space superbly. A little bit of magic around the final third area, little 1-2 pass between Mbeumo and Sesko. We've unlocked the defense in that brief moment. Souls, who's just literally pulled off an insane save, can't do much there. Maybe if you stick out your leg just a little bit further, you might be able to get something to it. And Postecoglou, you can hold that, sir. You can hold that. Another loss. We're making sure he doesn't beat us, because IRL, bro, hasn't won a single game. He's conceded a load of goals, 0 clean sheets in that time, and hasn't won a single game. Now in this career mode, I'm not too sure exactly, but they have won 2 of the last 5. Back into Mbeumo. Mbeumo with a long shot, but it's well wide, looking like prime Martin Odegaard, missing everything completely. The City ground, they're doing their thing, they're playing their role, they're trying to encourage their team to maybe get back in this game, and obviously, with the team only being 1-0 down, It's all to play for in the second half. Now, if we take a look at the stats, I know I promised more shots from the CPU, but right now they've taken 0 shots in that first half. They haven't really got into prime attacking positions just yet. There were 1 or 2 decent breaks down the flanks, but nothing really materialized out of it. We have got a slightly higher percentage at 54%. We've had 52 passes to their 36, and the pass accuracy is in their favor at 94% compared to just 84% for us. So we need to improve on that. I wouldn't really want to make any changes at halftime. I don't need to make any tweaks, any player changes or anything like that. We need to go out in the second half and try and start the game, or the half at least, on a better note. I think we scored the goal and then we didn't really have as much attacking intent afterwards. So we need to improve our mentality, boys. It's got to be a mentality increase here, please. Great little bit of movements. Sells with another save. I tried to toe poke it past him. Didn't get much good connection on the ball. And we literally just kick it straight at him. But that was some really good passing movements around the midfield. Oh, Mazraoui. I love Mazraoui, you know. Reducing the attacking threat that we can maybe try and put on the opposition here. Uh-oh. Mazraoui up against Ndoye. Ndoye has got pace to burn. And Kalamawendo, he's in and around the box here. There are a few others joining him in the box. And right now, it's a shot. It's the first shot of the game. And maybe there's more to come from Postecoglou's side. They are suggesting Manuel Ugarte. Ndoye is coming off. One of their better attacking options. And Elliot Anderson is coming on. So Elliot Anderson playing in the midfield or out wide. That could be a strange tactical tweak that Postecoglou has made. However, he does bring a lot more bite and physicality to the wide areas. So... And it does look like he is playing in the wide zone, so fair enough. Maybe trying to track Mbeumo a little bit better with an extra option. That could be the game plan. Milinkovic, he's closed him down. Hello, it's Bruno Fernandes, whipped to the back post, and Sells gets a glove to it. Sesko's there, balloons the header over the crossbar. Okay, we are going to make a few changes now because it is around the 67th minute or so. They were suggesting Casemiro does come off, and I do agree with that. But it's not going to be for Ugarte because I want a little bit more attacking intent. It's going to be for Ahmad. Actually, Mbeumo also needs to come off. So do I play Ahmad like so? No, I'm going to play Ahmad inside with Mount on the outside, have a bit more of a natural crosser coming in and whipping in those crosses because I am going to keep Sesko, and although his stamina is draining, we'll keep an extra sub on the bench for Xerxes to potentially come on at a later point. But those are going to be the 4 changes I do make in terms of the personnel, and then for the actual player role changes, I want Mason Mount to have a bit of a different role compared to the likes of Mbeumo, and that's going to be a wide playmaker on attack alongside Cunha also switching to a wide playmaker on attack. As for Ahmad, you're not going to be a box-to-box winning ball-winning midfielder. You're going to be a playmaker on roaming alongside Bruno Fernandes, and Kobe, you're going to then switch to a deep-lying playmaker on defend. So far, so good. I'm also thinking, because Elliot Anderson has come on, he doesn't have crazy amounts of pace. He does have a lot of dribbling abilities, and he can look to move inside from time to time. That also means that I won't necessarily always need Mazraoui to stay back as much as what he has been doing. So therefore, he'll also switch to a support wing-back, looking to crowd those middle areas with a lot of fluidity and ball rotations because again, we don't really have that like really super physical and pacey player down at the wide areas in Mbeumo. We now have Mount, Ahmad, and Bruno looking to control the play alongside Mateus Cunha. Okay. There we go. Oh, that's a big challenge there from Lenny Yoro. And what's this? They've switched Elliot Anderson to the inside. They have switched him onto the inside, and they've brought on what looks to be Morgan Gibbs-White. Okay. So they've made a few tactical tweaks right now themselves, which, to be fair, good on them. But I don't know if I should be replacing Mazraoui, or not replacing him, but changing his role back. The city ground is going potty right now. They're trying to encourage their team. Their players are trying to get up the pitch, and they're pushing us back ever so slightly. A little through ball into Kalamawendo. Please make the save. Oh my flippin' oath. That is my goat right there. Center Lamens between the posts. We are looking to make a change. Xerxes on for Sesko. No tactical tweak will be needed because I want a player still looking to run in behind, and Xerxes is going to be that player every now and then. They're bringing on a great corner kick taker in Douglas Luiz. I know you said David Luiz. Douglas Luiz. Please claim it. Oh, okay. That was too scary for me. That was far too scary for me. Bruno needs more runners around him. He just gets the toe poke away into Dallo. Has he played him offside? I'm not too sure. Oh wait, we're onside here. We're onside. We're onside. Two incredibly scary moments. Sinner Lamens with a great save, by the way. Just prime David De Gea settings, just leg out, getting the touch, deflecting it wide. And then from the corner kick, he wasn't prime David De Gea because De Gea was terrible in the air at claiming crosses as well. But he came out, he punched the ball clear of, was it It was Milinkovic, because of course Milinkovic is like 10 feet tall. Got the ball clear. We were able to counter-attack, which led to this moment of incredible magic from the Brazilian maestro. Okay, 2-0, but don't say that this game was easy, because this game was by far and away anything but easy. They are suggesting Luke Shaw on for Matthijs de Ligt. If anything, that just tells you that it's not an easy game. I have Luke Shaw on the bench, and they're suggesting for him to get more minutes. Are you cooked in the head? Again, Bruno Fernandes, he's looking for that ball into Cunha. Now Cunha, he might be able to wrap it around. Oh! Xerxes just absolutely clattered Milinkovic-Savic there. And that should be the game. Ref, he's blown the whistle. A 2-0 win. Like, we've had moments of craziness on our behalf, on their behalf, on everybody's behalf. But most importantly, Anjan Postecoglou has lost to Man United. Now, if that could actually happen in real life, it would be scenes of pure joy, tears, and celebration. Heading into this massive Tottenham Hotspur game, we've got some brilliant news. Now that news is Lisandro Martinez is back. Now this also means that there will be a lot more competition for those centre-back areas to try and start in and over, and whoever's going to be starting game in, game out. Now there's Lenny Yoro, who I love to bits. There's Matthijs de Ligt, who has been an absolute juggernaut and brick wall. And now the Butcher is back. That's the third great option. Of course, there's still Harry Maguire. At the moment, there's also Aiden Heaven as well as Luke Shaw. But this is brilliant news. We get to have a great option off the bench if needed or required. But that's just the thing. He is going to be off the bench, at least for the next few weeks, whilst he acclimates back into the team. Of course, there's a new play style that I need him to learn and study and understand. And to be honest, it's not looking too bad, you know. This back line isn't looking too bad. I've been so impressed with Yoro. I can't just immediately drop him for Lisandro Martinez. It makes no sense to do that. So he's going to continue until, you know, there might be a bit of struggling, or maybe in training, Lisandro Martinez steps up and shows what a leader he is, and he eventually just takes that starting shirt and says, this is mine. You're going to have to fight with Matthijs de Ligt for that right side. That could be an option too. Rightio, heading into this press conference, they're going to ask me if Thomas the Frank Tank Engine is a better tactician than yours truly, and I'm going to say no. But first, I'm going to celebrate Sesko, because why? He's been in some incredible form to start off his Man United career. He scored like 14 goals in 12 games or something crazy like that. This brother right here, Senna Lamens, incredible, magnific. I just wish he had a real face. I can't deny. We're going to encourage him, try and get him into that nice green zone, that positive zone of there's a good amount of confidence, but he's not cocky about it, and that's great because he's going to be big for us. He's going to have to pull off at least one or two big saves in this game versus Spurs, and we're not going to downplay his performances. We're going to celebrate his performances. He did give the ball away a few times in that game versus Forest, but he was a true leader at the back line, marshalling everybody in and around him, making sure the spaces were compact, and really and truly helping us collect those big 3 points away from home. Things are going to get real tasty right now because they're currently in 4th place. Tottenham Hotspur under Thomas Frank are in 4th place. Their form, however, has been shocking. Last 5 games, they've lost 3 and they've won just 2 times. Not so great, not so great. Their predicted starting 11, which I would probably presume would change, but their predicted starting 11 does have Solanke starting up top, which will be an aerial focal point for the team to try and use, whether it's long balls out from the back or just a target to use in the box. So De Ligt and Yoro are going to need to be switched on as best as possible. But Kudus and Johnson, we know Johnson. I don't like Johnson. He's scoring winners versus us in the Europa League final, but he's got loads of pace. Kudus is a very tricky winger, but is also very direct when needed. Bergvall, I do like. Pap Matasar is one of my favorite players that does not play for my club and also plays in the Premier League. I love him. He's got an engine to run for days. He is incredible. So he's definitely going to be a danger man. I know that they've only highlighted Van de Ven, Romero, and Pedro Porro, but Pap Matasar is going to be, if he does start and if he does get minutes, he will definitely be a person that I try and pay as much attention to as possible. Palhinha in the midfield, we're going to try and isolate him. We're going to try and expose him with a bit of a press. That is just the game plan that I have in my head. But the key defensive players are, as I've already mentioned, Pedro Porro, Romero, and Van de Ven. There's no key attacking players, which is quite weird, but they are looking to press us high, which is also could play into our hands. We might look to invite that press, invite that pressure, and then play through it, coordinate correctly the correct sequences and passing movements, and then attack them either down the flanks or maybe through the middle, depending on how much space we have. Sesko is going to have his hands full with Romero and Van de Ven. We already know that. And maybe Mbeumo is going to have his hands full because Van de Ven is definitely going to look to try and cover that side of the pitch. So Cunha could have a very important role, at least as the attacking outlet for our team in this game. That is my thinking for the starting 11. Diego Dalot comes in for Patrick Dorgu. I just trust Dalot a little bit more, and of course with FC26 purposes and all that stuff. The 80 overall might be needed to try and stop a Brennan Johnson or a Kudus or potentially an Odebear if he does start. But we do know that Tottenham's wingers are quite pacey, so I need a bit more, and Dalot does have that. I know Dorgu's also quick himself, but it's just the overall that is swaying me to start Dalot over Dorgu. For the tactics, this is where things do change up a hell of a lot. We're going to leave him on as a balanced inside forward. I don't really need Mbeumo getting forward as much because we do know that Van de Ven will be playing on that side of the field. This is where things do change. Cunha is going to be set to the attacking role alongside Bruno Fernandes. I want these two players looking to try and work their way into the half space or out wide and attack that side of the pitch. Pedro Porro is going to look to get forward. I know it said he's a key defensive player, but technically and typically he does like to get forward up the pitch. Cunha and Fernandes working in the opposite direction could look to maximize the attacking opportunities from that space that he does vacate, and they can also look to double up on a potential Romero and have him shift over and therefore open up a lot more space for the attack-minded poacher. The fullbacks are going to both be set to fullbacks, and I'm going to have them on defend. No, I'm going to have them on versatile. I like that. They can look to get up the pitch if needed, if there's opportunities to get forward. They can also look to invert alongside Kobbie Mainoo, who will definitely be set to the defensive role. Casemiro is going to be left on the ball winning role. That's fine. And of course, still being as a box-to-box player. And these two will be left as the same. Build-up ball-playing defenders. Yo, it's a daytime game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They're arriving. We're already on the pitch having a look, trying to scope out what's going to be happening. There's a last few tactical adjustments and tweaks being made from Thomas Frank. He's looking very nervous coming up against the #1 team in the Premier League, Man United, under their goat of a manager, ya boy Brom Squad Gaming. We haven't lost yet, which I hope continues after this game. But like I said, it's a lot more difficult. We're playing on ultimates. We're playing with authentic settings, and we're playing with the custom AI sliders. It's difficult, guys. It's difficult. Don't blame me if I'm that good, okay? We've made 1 or 2 tweaks to our tactics. Have Tottenham made a few tweaks to theirs? Time will tell. The gameplay will really dictate what's changed and what hasn't. But immediately, I am seeing Kulusevski is starting. That's probably in one of those central midfield roles, potentially over a player like Bergvall, which I don't see right there. So Kolo Muani is also starting by the looks of it. So they're going to have pace up front. Do I need to tweak something in my back line? Potentially. Maybe dropping the 2 centre-backs back just ever so slightly to their defensive roles, making sure that they don't step up too much, might be exposed or exploited. That could be a key element for Spurs to try and work against us. But for now, for at least the first 20 or 30 minutes, I am going to try and keep things as civilized and normal as possible. Dragushin starts. Mickey van der Ven starting at left back. This is exactly why I did not play the certain role for Mbeumo, because van der Ven starting at left back is wild. Why is Destiny Udogie not playing there? Or Jed Spence, why is he not playing there? We haven't really changed too much with our lineup, apart from Dalot. The tactical tweaks, however, they might really be able to dictate what's going to happen and what's not. And we kick things off here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I don't like this stadium. 1, because my team never gets a damn win here. And 2, just in previous FIFAs, Spurs have always been so hard to beat. It's not right. They finished 17th last year. They've definitely done that. There we go. Lenny Yoro finds a great ball, punched straight through the midfield into Sesko. He returns the ball back into Cunha. He's just offside though. Sesko, they're saying history beckons for the tall Slovenian bazooka of a man. And it's quite literally just offside. It's a knee offside with an arm, although the arm doesn't really count. But it's the knee that's the real issue there. And it's a good call from the linesman. However, we've just seen the game plan work. Lenny Yoro with a great ball punched straight through the midfield. Uh-oh. Oh, Kudus. Oh my. Okay, Dalot did incredibly well there, although I did mistime the challenge. But Kudus did really well there himself. Gets a shot off. Senna Lamens is there, puts a leg out, gets the stop. Thomas Frank, he's thinking that could be 1-0 to Tottenham. And Romero gets out-dueled in the air by the United captain. Just look to close down the spaces, gentlemen. Just look to close down the spaces, gentlemen. Mickey van der Ven with a wild effort. Loops up, almost into the back of the net. Cedar Lamens, he was aware, he was locked in. He said, don't worry, boss. I don't need to make any jumps. It's just going to be a goal kick. We are going to kick things off here. Playing out from the back, looking to invite that press, looking to invite that pressure. And there we go, Dallo. He's played it forward, and he is also looking to make that run forward himself. Look at this double up. This is the great double up that we were talking about. Dallo, please tell me you're onside. Oh, he is on. Oh, I thought he was offside. I thought he was offside. There we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Punches it across the face of goal. 19 minutes in. 1-0 in Brom. Just bang. Out of the blue. From the blind side. I don't think Van der Ven was fully locked into what was actually happening there. But a great ball. The overload from Dallo, by the way. The overload from Dallo really did help. It allowed Cunha to drift into that space and then play through Bruno Fernandes. And then, of course, look at what happens here. Van der Ven caught out of position, not marking his man. And then Brom pops up at the back post just to put the ball in the net. A great little bit of movement and intricate passing sequences that lead to his 7th goal of the season and a 1-0 Man United lead. There we go. Oh, I love Mazraoui, guys. I don't know if I've told you this already, but I love Mazraoui. Into Cedar Lamens. He's going to play it out wide to Diego Dallo, who looks to cut inside, chop it inside. Very dangerous, very risky. Cobby. Cobby's looking for that ball. A bit too hasty there, but we've won the second. We won the second challenge. We won the 50-50. And the man was running in behind there too, you know. Mazraoui being challenged by Odebear. Great block, great shot, great everything. Tottenham, they are looking very, very much tuned in right now. That's brilliant from Diego Dallo. That's superb reading of the game. Cobby, he's found a great ball, punched straight through the midfield into Pedro Porro, and this is exactly what I meant. Look at all the space. We're going to look to chip it into that back post area. That's a terrible cross. That is an outrageously shit-looking cross from Cunha. I'm expecting more from you, mates. Looking to try and pick up the attacker of Kulusevski. Oh, Dallo. Dallo has been superb, although that pass is the most Dallo thing. He does something incredible, and then he does something terrible. But I must say, apart from that horrible pass out from the back, Dallo has probably been the best player on the pitch. The overload, the attacking intent, the IQ of him to actually use his brain is what you need in a player at times. And that will be 1-0 at the break. Very similar to the Forest game. We've had some good opportunities. We've taken one of them. However, the twist in the tale is they've had some very good opportunities themselves, and it's been either a moment of magic from my defense or a great save from Cedar Lamens. So as you can see with the stats at halftime, 4 shots to Spurs with just 1 to us. We've only had 1 shot, and we've literally taken that 1 shot and 1 opportunity with both hands. Mbeumo, clinical, Bruno, Cunha, and Dorgu. Dallo down that left-hand side, incredible to make that opportunity. And other than that, we really haven't had as much as what we would normally want. They've had more possession, they've had a higher pass percentage or accuracy. We've had more passes than them, but we tend to rotate the ball very quickly, which does generate a lot more, and he said opportunities, a lot more passes. In terms of the tackles and the success rate of those tackles, it's 2-1 in our favor, but we need a bit more in the second half. In fact, we might need to make a few changes at halftime. And that first change is going to be Manuel Ugarte on for Casemiro. A lot of the Spurs attacks have flourished down this side of the pitch, and that is because Casemiro hasn't really been involved in the deeper sections. I need him to be and down, not just up or not just down. So we are bringing on Ugarte. We're not going to switch anything up in terms of the tactics. I do like what has happened so far. Maybe we can try and get Sesko a bit more involved in the game. I'm seeing he is looking very isolated, which is exactly what both Frank as well as the 2 Tottenham centre backs will want. So maybe, just maybe, we can get him something going in that second half. I'm so surprised that Mickey van der Ven is playing at left back. I know he can play at left back and he's got the pace to play at left back, but why would you play him at left back? Do you not think that Sesko is that much of a threat that he can't, you know, make runs in behind? Here we go. Odebear up against Mazraoui. Mazraoui has had the best of Odebear the entire game, except for there. It's a great shot. It's a great save. We've cleared it. We were looking quite shoddy there, guys. We were looking incredibly shoddy there. There we go, into Cunha. Cunha, he's made a run. He's going to square it into Ugarte. Ugarte's missed the targets. Here we go, Dallo. He's looking to charge down this side of the pitch. Cross into the back post. Van der Ven. Of course, Van der Ven's going to out-muscle and out-duel the likes of 5'8" Mbeumo. Just put under some pressure there. No. What? Oh my goodness me. Lenny Yoro. My friggin' goats. They were just passing is so weird. Kobe. That's a great find from Kobe Mainu. Back in there. It's just, look at this. Look at this no space area. Into Kobe. What can Kobe do? He's going to square it across the face of goal. And there we have it. A 2-0 lead yet again. Late on in the game. It's been a struggle. It's been a lot. But we are going to make some changes. 15 goals in 11 appearances. That is outrageously good. Okay, so we are going to make a few changes. Martinez is going to come on for the last 7 or so minutes, get some legs in the minutes, get some minutes in the legs. Dorgu's coming on down that left hand side with Dallo switching to the right. Mazraoui, arguably alongside Dallo, has been our players of the game. Just the defensive work and the actions that they've put in to try and stop and prevent opportunities from being created. Ahmad's coming on for Mbeumo, and I'm thinking we can't take off Ugarte. We've brought him on at half time, but I don't want to bring on anybody else at this moment, so we're going to leave that as is. We're going to also, yes, we're going to change Ahmad's role. We're going to change him to a wide playmaker with an attack focus. Try and put a bit more stress on those wider sections down both flanks now. Of course, we also have the versatile fullback roles coming in and looking to stay high up the field at times when the moments are right. But right now, it's looking tasty. And Kobe Mainu in this defense, can I get to Kobe Mainu? Thank you. Kobe Mainu in this defensive role has been good, although we did see him get forward. So I'm thinking maybe the overload, that roaming role, could also help just assert more dominance, maybe even try and unlock another goal in this really tight and compact Spurs backline. I'm just surprised that Dragushin started and there was no left back actually put in the left back position. Okay, I'm very excited that Lisandro Martinez is back on the pitch. He's had 2 major injuries in his very short Man United career mode. I mean, he's only been at United for what's it been, like 3 years, and in those 3 years he's missed multiple months through metatarsal injury and now an ACL injury. So I do hope that he can somehow bounce back to somewhat the player that he once was. They are suggesting Mason Mount on for Cunha. I'm going to make that change just for the sake of it. There's no real tactical needs or wants required to try and get the best out of Mount. The likes of Romero, he's been very good. He's been probably Spurs' best player, maybe even alongside Van der Ven, although he is responsible for a goal. And Ahmad yet again. Ahmad! Oh! Great save from Vicario. Put under so much pressure, and that will be another 2-0 win. Halfway through this episode, and we are looking fantastic. We're looking grand. We've beat Ange with Forest, and we've beat Frank with Spurs. That if that doesn't deserve a like, I don't know what does, because we are on fire right now. We're winning games. It's a harder difficulty because we've upped the sliders. And Sesko got himself a goal. I mean, serious, if you still haven't liked this video, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. Rightio. So, the deal for Tyrell Malacia has fallen through with Villarreal. So, RB Leipzig, if you want to take him, I'm not even going to try and negotiate a deal for him. If you want him, you can have him. I don't, like I said in the last episode, or maybe it was the episode before that, I don't really care how much money we get for players like Malacia or Luke Shaw, because their value to me in this squad is next to non-existent as things stand. So currently, Everton are in 18th place. They've lost 4 of their last 5, and that one that they didn't lose, they drew. So not a win in the last 5. Grealish is one of their key figures to watch out for, but so is Ndai down the other flank. They're going to be playing a 4-2-3-1. We might actually, switch up some things here and try and adjust a few things. Maybe experiment a little bit, but not too much. We can't afford to slip up because it's games like this that really do allow a team or a manager to try too much and then things do go horribly wrong and then you lose all that great momentum that you've struggled to create and build. They're going to be playing a kick and rush approach. Long balls galore forward, always looking for that ball over the top into the strikers or potentially into the channels for the two wingers. Now we know that Grealish isn't the paciest of players. He's not going to make those runs in behind. He's more of a ball to feet sort of player, so we need to make sure that whoever is playing at fullback is very much attached to big boy Jack Grealish. Whereas the other fullback, who's going to be looking after and die, he's going to be needing to make sure that he's watching that space in behind him. So again, that might be a little bit of a clue as to who might start, what we might do. The key defensive players are Pickford in goal, which makes a lot of sense. Pickford has been, Everton's best player of like the last decade, and he's been the goalkeeper. He saved them from countless relegations, and on his day, he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, so fair enough. O'Brien is the other key defensive player, as well as Tarkowski. Now, I didn't actually take notes, but Keane is starting over Branthwaite, which I think is a bit weird. We might actually see Branthwaite start, which could also mean that he also becomes a key defensive player that we need to watch out for. Now we are at home. This is the only home game of the episode, which I think is an absolute outrageous fixture creation from the Premier League. But we are going to change up some things. We're going to... Should I go with a 4-2-4 or do I go with a 4-4-2? I do want to go with a 4-4 something or a 4-2-4. I think the 4-2-4 is a bit too attacking for my liking. So we're going to go with the flats. Yes, we're going to go with the flats 4-4-2. Now this is going to change up a lot. So we are going to effectively drop Casemiro and we're going to be playing Mbeumo alongside Sesko. Now Sesko, his role will also definitely change. Mbeumo is going to be set to that poacher role and I want him on versatile. As for the actual poacher in the team, we're going to switch his role to target forward and we're going to have it on balance. He's going to be the outlet for the long ball going forward, as well as Senna Lammers is going to keep his ball playing keeper role, and even these guys are going to keep their roles very much intact because I want them kind of playing higher up the field, being involved in those rotations in that midfield area. For the wing backs, that is exactly what they're going to be. I don't even have to change them because I want them overlapping. And why do you say that? Because both of the wide players are going to be wide playmakers on build up, and that's going to help them come in, kind of creating a 4-2-2 looking structure that's going to help us play through the lines of this Everton defensive block. Both of the central players are going to be set to box balanced midfielders. I need a bit more energy and movements in those central areas. We are going to be somewhat exposed at times, especially with Everton's 3-man midfield, sometimes a 5-man midfield if you include the 2 wingers coming inside. But that is going to be what the team kind of looks like, because we are also going to make a few changes. Casemiro, he does drop out for Ahmad, who does get the start. Now some might be saying, why didn't you start Xerxes and Sesko up front? I need this big man, little man combination to work out. We're going 4-4-2 versus Everton. That is fantastic. Mbeumo. Yeah, now Mbeumo. We've got Mazraoui making inside runs here. Ahmad looks to whip it into the central area. And we've got our first Sesko dagger. 3.5 minutes into the game, 16-12. Ahmad with an assist. A 4-4-2, you know. It's looking great. Dorgu, I was actually supposed to start Dallo. Not over Dorgu, but over Mazraoui. However, Mazraoui's come in here and he's got the hockey assist. A great whipped pass. It's just a 6'5" juggernaut diving in header first. Bang! Off the dome, into the back of the net. And Jordan Pickford, he's at full stretch. I can't even fault the goalkeeper there. It's just a work of art, a good goal, and pretty much unstoppable. Now, some people... Oh my goodness me, I was just going to say, some people have been saying... There's no protection in the midfield, and that got exploited and exposed right there. Senna Lammers with another brilliant save. And that should have been 1-1. Mbeumo into Ahmad. Can Ahmad do it again? Put the ball into the box. Oh my god. Never mind. Never fear. We're also up against former United player, Jimmy Garner, who we all know we're looking at. Here we go. Ahmad takes a shot on. It's blocked away yet again. Ball in there. Sesko, he plays it in to Cunha. Cunha pulls it back beautifully, and there we have it. It's 2-0 just before the break. The ref has played extra time on top of added time, and that is terrible settings, because if it was me, I'm losing my mind. But because it's not me, I'm celebrating a second goal in the half. So the stats are quite positive and in our favor for that first half of play. Of course, things started off incredibly well, a 4th minute goal, but we've had around 56% possession. It could and should arguably be a lot higher. We need to look after the ball, but we are missing a lot of physicality and as well as running power in the midfield, which is something that Man United are suffering with IRL. However, we're 2-0 up, something Man United IRL can't say. We've had 67 passes to just 37 from Everton. They always seem to struggle at OT, but hey, I'm not going to complain. We've had 91% pass accuracy success, and they've had 94% success, which is pretty damn good if you ask me, from those 37 passes. So what's that? They've attempted 38 passes and they've only lost out on 1? That's cool. And we've had 3 tackles to their 1. So even on the defensive end, they're still not doing as much as what they could be. They should be putting their bodies on the line. They should be absolutely exerting as much energy out of possession as what they can when in possession. But that probably works out in our favor in a little way, shape or form. As for the team management, now I have just said we are missing the running power. But I'm not resting on my laurels. This is an experimental sort of game. Can this team play a 4-4-2? Right now, the verdict is, yes, we're winning 2-0, but the verdict is, no, we can't. We don't have the legs, we don't have the physicality, and we just don't really have the personnel right now to make it a successful sort of go-to type of formation. The back line has done incredibly well. Mazraoui, by the way, I'm just watching that stamina. He might be coming off, as well as Kobe Mainu might be coming off in the second half. However, Mazraoui, he's made that overlap. Great ball. Great ball. Back post. Oh my goodness. It was a well-worked little maneuver down the wide sections. A great whipped-in pass. I don't know why he whipped it in like that. I would have looked for him to take it on his left foot and actually have a bit of an in-swinger. But Super Jack Grealish, he's on the field. And it probably should be 3-0. Good ball into Cunha. Cunha's telling Sesko to make the run. Sesko has made the run. It's another diving header, but that is just offside. He is a magnet when it comes to in-the-air movement. It's outrageous how good he actually is. But we are going to make a few changes, and the first will be Ahmad. He's going to come out for Mason Mount, who I do think will actually do very well down this right-hand side. Mainu's going to come out for Ugarte because we do need the legs. And we're going to bring on the Butcher, but this time for Lenny Yoro, and I think we're going to do that. Oh, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to swap them, so Sesko can be the player who's slightly higher, with Xerxes dropping deeper every now and then, but both can also be great outlets for the long ball going forward. Mount gets bounced off the ball, and Everton are slowly but surely starting to work their magic here. However, we've got a big ball win there from Ugarte, and he's played it first time through to Sesko, who's battling his man, and shapes it just past the goalkeeper. A bit of a goal against the run of play. Everton were moving the ball beautifully through the midfield areas. Ugarte intercepts it. He's coming into some great form. First time pass straight into Sesko, who's made that run. He's battling with the left back, and of course Sesko's a lot stronger than Mikalenko. Gets away from him, puts the ball into some space, and straight past the goalkeeper, strikes it beautifully. We know Sesko's got like a rocket in either foot and can hit the ball perfectly. Uh-oh. That is... that is an outrageously well-taken goal. And that is also our first goal conceded of the episode, which really doesn't help me when I'm trying to convince you guys that this is actually a real challenge. But I promise you it is. I don't know what else to say. That is a well-worked goal. I was trying to stand off just in case he was going to take a shot, but he found a great... Oh, that run is outrageously good. Diego Dalot letting his man just loose. That goal is really good. You know what? Hands up. Well taken, Everton. And there we have it. A solid 3-1 win. The stats, we're going to go over those stats. They are going to be somewhat in Everton's favour. Everton definitely did look to dominate possession in the second half, control the game a little bit better than what we did. But with that 3-man midfield, we were often outnumbered. That's why the striker had to drop a bit deeper from time to time. However, 2 great goals from Sesko, a very good goal from Ndiaye from Everton, and a 4-4-2 maybe just doesn't suit what I'm trying to do with this team. As you can see here, the full-time stats don't read positively in terms of the possession, because Everton did have 55% possession. At halftime, it was the other way around. But like I said, in that second half, we saw Everton move the ball around a lot more. For Sesko's second goal, Everton had a lot of possession that was then broken up by Ugarte, and then he created the opportunity. But we had 6 shots, they only had 3. We had an expected goals of 3, which we scored 3, and they had an expected goals of 1.1, which they ended up scoring 1. More passes for us, more tackles for us. They only had 2 tackles the entire game, which is not very Everton-like under David Moyes, or just not very Everton-like in general. So their fans are not going to be happy. I can probably say that there are positives that they can take out of the game, but they do need to get results. Because why? It doesn't matter how pretty you play. It doesn't matter how well you play. If you lose games, it's a results-based business and you'll lose your job. We all know that. That's the harsh reality of life. So those are the full-time stats, and I'm quite impressed with how the players did play in a weird-looking formation that we're not really used to. As you can see there, we had a lot of possession in that wider rights area. Ahmad and Mbeumo in that first half combining perfectly. A few little interchanges with the likes of Mazraoui as well, but the left-hand side was dormant. The left-hand side was actually vacated quite a bit. Overall wise, not too bad. I just don't think we're going to be using a 4-4-2 again. We've got a little message here from Binder. He wants to be starting the next game versus the mighty Crystal Palace. And for that, I'm going to say, I want more from you, but you're going to sit on the bench because I'm not risking you in the starting 11 versus Palace at Selhurst Park. Are you cooked in the head? Like, that is such a tough away ground to go to. And they're really good under Oliver Glasner. And can you imagine you versus Mateta? That's barbecue chicken, bro. Bro's just going to eat you. Pause. That sounds horrendous. Pointers, any cross that comes into the box, I'll be shitting myself. Any whipped in opportunity from open play, I'll be crying real tears. Okay, now Ahmad wanting to start does make more sense. I'm going to think about it because Ahmad actually might have a real shout here at starting versus Palace. He was very good versus Everton, got an assist for the first Sesko goal within 4 minutes, and I thought he was quite good in those little half and tight spaces. So we might look to not rotate fully, but we might look to just make 1 or 2 tweaks to the starting 11. As for how Palace are going to be playing, they're currently 9th in the Premier League, winning 3 of their last 5 and losing the other 2. So it's been you either win or you don't. And I can respect that. Of course, we know that they do play a 5-2-3. I do fully expect Yeremy Pino to be starting over Davini. That makes a lot of sense. Kamada might even be a bit of a spanner in the works, maybe in the midfield or possibly in one of those 2 number 10/winger positions. Uche, by the way, I do like Uche. He's the sort of striker that you don't want to play against because he's got so many fantastic physical attributes, whether it's his ability to be like very physical and dominate the opposition centre backs, or he's got the technical attributes that he can drop into the midfield. He can somewhat play as a false 9. So if it's Mateta, my players are more in tune with what they're expecting. But if it's Uche, bit of a difficult day at the office. As for the tactical preset, it's also very similar to Everton, a kick and rush approach, which does make sense. Henderson, Munoz, and Richards are the 3 key defensive players, with Sarr being the key attacking threat. I would also imagine Mateta, or whoever the centre forward is, will also be a key attacking threat. And then in the back line, I mean, that entire back line, and when I say the back line, I mean the back 3 of Guehi, Lacroix, as well as Richards, they're all going to be key defensive threats. Now, as I said, I'm thinking of starting Ahmad. Mbeumo, it's more of a rotational thing than a drop, because I thought Mbeumo was okay in that game versus Everton. But Ahmad was just a little bit better than him, and therefore I think he deserves the start. The same can also be said for Mazraoui. I should have started Dallo in the last game. I didn't. I forgot to do that. So Dallo's going to start this game. De Ligt and Euro are going to continue to start. Martinez, he's looking a bit better, back into fitness. He's trained well this week, in contention for some second half minutes. Luke Shaw, don't hold your breath. But otherwise, these players I'm quite happy with. I'm also going to leave Ahmad as an inside forward on balanced focus. He's recently been trained up to succeed in that position, which is great. So as you can see there, he does have a little plus sign next to his name. But otherwise, we're not going to make any... Oh, wait. I do want to make one change. Because we are up against a midfield 2, it does open up a player like Kobbie Mainoo to be the real difference maker in the central spaces. So you're going to have Bruno and Casemiro potentially marking one of the central midfielders each. That's what I was trying to say. Whereas Kobbie Mainoo, he's going to have the ability to roam around. Now this works both in offense and defensive phases of play. So he's going to be the difference maker in the central spaces, whether it's drifting out wide, drifting into the half spaces, or playing in the central zones. We're going to see a lot from Kobbie Mainoo. It's Mainoo versus Wharton. It's the battle that everybody has wanted to see for the last 2 years. and we're going to get it in this game. Okay, so it does look like Mateta is starting. In fact, because I haven't seen the starting 11 just yet, let's have a look at who Palace are actually starting. So, Yeremy Pino, as predicted, starts. But we also know that some of these players are not fully fit, so keep that in mind. But Yeremy Pino does start down the left-hand side. Mateta and Sarr, that is probably their best starting three in the front line that they can probably use. Doucouré and Kamada in the midfield. So again, no Adam Wharton. He's run away. He's run away from the challenge of Kobbie Mainoo. You love to see it. Jefferson Lerma as a centre-back alongside Guehi and Lacroix. Munoz and of course Mitchell as the fullbacks, and then Henderson. Now, does this mean Wharton's on the bench? Wharton's on the bench, Richards is on the bench, Uche is on the bench. So they do have some good attacking options or good controlling players off their bench that they can use. Nketiah as well, we shouldn't forget about him. I'm not that threatened, especially with Lerma at left-sided centre-back. That doesn't even make sense. Suggested the rushed moments. He's played through Ahmad. Ahmad's going to whip it into the far post, and Sesko's there, but it's a great save from Dean Henderson, former United player of Kiels. Bang. Punch through the lines. Back in there. Little ball over the top. Into Bruno. Bruno first time, and he sliced it just wide. 7.5 minutes in, and we are bringing the pain to Ollie Glasner's Crystal Palace at home. They're at home. We're away. The home crowd, they're looking a bit cautious, a bit antsy, a bit tensious with their support and their praise. We've won that duel yet again. They're going long with it, and we are just winning our challenges perfectly. This time it's Ahmad. Ahmad from distance, and it's into the gloves of Dean Henderson. They're going long with it every single time. They don't want to succumb to our aggressive and assertive press. There we go. There we go. Hold that! Mateus Cunha, 7th goal for his United career, 13 games in, and it's absolutely magnificent. Bruno Fernandes with an assist, Cunha with a finish. We've been knocking on heaven's door here. We've been knocking on heaven's door, and it's just been opened, and we've walked right in, and the Palace fans are going, well, not potty, but they're going mad because, you know, things are not looking good right now. Every ball that they've gone long with, we've intercepted. Every opportunity that they've tried to create, we've been there. Kobbie Mainoo in the midfield as that extra man has worked perfectly. But De Ligt came into cover. Again, Kamada is there, and Sarr is there. Oh my word. Okay. It's 1-1, guys. It's 1-1 and 9th goal in 13 games. Sarr is more of a danger man than what I would have thought. Okay, so it's 1-1. This is the first time we're not winning. Maybe the sliders are good enough, guys. Maybe the sliders are good enough. That's a great little bit of movement. I can't lie, I can't deny. That is a well-taken shot. And he's not even left-footed, he's right-footed. Oh my god! This is where Casemiro got a red card for choking out. Was it Hughes? Or was it Jeffrey Schlupp? One of them got choked out. I think Jeffrey Schlupp ended up poking Fred in the eye or something like that. Oh god, I remember being so enraged that day. Outrageous settings. Why is Matthijs de Ligt playing so high up? Never fear, because Bruno is there. He's found a great ball into Ahmad. Ahmad's gone past his man, off the post, rebounds straight to him. If anything, EA, I thought that wasn't supposed to happen as much. However, this is like the first time it's happened to me in a while. 2-1 up. Just before halftime. 41 minutes gone by. Ahmad's done really well there. Getting past Jefferson Lerma, a player out of position playing at centre-back. It doesn't make sense again. And he fires it home into an empty net. So, that'll be the first half done and dusted. A 2-1, just narrowly in front sort of game. Lenny Yoro has done quite well. However, Lisandro Martinez, he's been looking at me, he's been side-eyeing me, he's frothing up the mouth for extra minutes here. And at half-time, a few players, Ahmad and Casemiro being two of them, they are looking a bit shaky when it comes to the stamina. Yoro and De Ligt, great. Mainoo, okay, even in that roaming role. Bruno, of course, he's got like Duracell batteries within him. But Sesko as well, looking a bit shaky. As for the halftime stats, it's a more or less a 50-50 game. 51% just edged in Palace's favour. We've had 6 shots. We have been absolutely putting down the law here when it comes to popping off shots whenever you're in space. If you have an opportunity, you test the goalkeeper. And we've scored 2 goals from that sort of method and approach. They, on the other hand, have scored 1, and it was a well-taken 1, by the way, by What? Ismail Assar. I was going to say, what is his first name? Ismail Assar. He's done very well. And to be honest, this is the first game where the passes are not in our favor. It's in Palace's favor. We have somewhat tried to adapt to their style of play. I've gone very direct with my attacking approach. It hasn't been this tippy-tappy sort of thing. It's get the ball forward, vertical passes, and let's get it up the pitch, which, again, has yielded a great first half result. Maybe in the second half, a bit of a mentality change. Cunha, he's looking for a little return pass there. Nope, nothing there. Into Cobby. Cobby, he finds Ahmad, who pops off a shot. Oh my goodness me. Another one. Ahmad with a second on the day, 3rd goal in 12 appearances. It hasn't been the greatest return. However, he's largely been a bench option and an impact player in those moments. But when he starts games, he pops off goals. Kobbie Mainoo with an assist, and that's just by Kobbie Mainoo's positioning, being slightly higher up and looking to affect the game. Little ball in between two players into some space. Ahmad strikes it with finesse. Goalkeeper should probably react a bit faster. That's some late reactions from Dean Henderson. And he's made to pay. Palace are made to play. And right now it's 3-1. And maybe we can just settle a little bit more into this game. Not have to worry too much about looking over our shoulders. It's a very late challenge. Casemiro, he's felt the full blow of whoever put in that challenge. I'm not too sure. Back into Bruno. Bruno into Ahmad. Is Ahmad offside? No, he's not. But Kobbie looking for that square pass through the midfield. Little ball over the top there. Oh, and Palace they are shitting themselves. This is the greatest time right now to make a few subs. Doucouré was the one that put in that tackle on Casemiro. Casemiro saying, hey ref, that was quite rough, that was quite tough. But the Palace fans, they're waving their flags, they're doing their thing, but now things are going to start switching up. You know why? Mbeumo is coming on. Do you know why? Mason Mount's coming on. Do you know why? Because Sesko is now coming off and Xerxes is coming on. As for Martinez, I'm going to bring him on for Lenior. Lenior has done quite well. I can't fault him there. He has done very well. In fact, I'm going to replace both of my back two, Maguire and Martinez, both on alongside Xerxes, Mount, and Mbeumo. Now, in terms of who's playing where and how they're playing together and all that good stuff that comes with it, we're going to go for a roaming playmaker role for Mount as well as Bruno. We're going to go for the defensive role for Maguire, but we're going to go with the aggressive role for Martinez. I think the aggressive role more or less suits him, his temperament, his style of play. As for Dallo, I'm going to switch him up here. I want him on a false back attack. The same can probably be said for Dorgu. The inverted, sorry, not false back attack, the inverted wing back on attack. That makes a lot more sense. And then we'll have a lot of movements, a lot of aggression. We might be exposed, we might be exploited, but hell, we're going to look good in doing so. We've got an inside forward on the right, and we've got a wide playmaker and build-up on the left. It could get quite interesting. Again, this is more of an experimental sort of approach that we're trying to undertake here. I'm still tinkering and tweaking certain things for that perfect approach. Xerxes, by the way, I forgot to change him. False 9. False 9 on build-up. We're going to see him linking up with Dallo, Dorgu, Bruno, Mason, and Mbeumo. And then of course, Matthias Cunha down the left. Back into Kobbie. Little ball over the top. Bruno Fernandes yet again. Bruno's putting his head everywhere. Like, does that sound dodgy? I don't know if that sounds dodgy. But if it does, pause. Kobbie again. He's won the ball back into Xerxes. Xerxes flicked it on into Matthias Cunha. Into Mason Mount. Mount's look for that ball over the top, and it's Mbeumo. Right there and then. 4-1 on the day. Fantastic header. He's just come on the field. I don't even know if he's touched the ball yet. And that is Palace in a nutshell. Put in a spliff. That's when you know. That's when you know who's who and who's what and how good they really are. Ollie Glasner doesn't rate Adam Wharton in this timeline. But right there and then, it's 4-1. We've won. Maybe I may have gotten a little bit sidetracked with the vertical tiki-taka. I don't really know if I got as much possession as what I would have wanted. However, the attacking intent, couldn't speak there for a second, was brilliant, especially when you switched to those inverted attacking fullbacks. Mbeumo came on, he scored a goal, Mount got the assist. It was looking really good, and I'm not going to lie. Maybe, just maybe, we may have found something that really does generate a lot of happiness for the controller and the tactician that I am. Now, I want to take a look at the shooting stats, because why we popped off a lot. And when I say a lot, we popped off a lot of shots. 9 shots, 7 of them on target. So Dean Henderson had a very busy day at the office, pulling off 3 of those saves, but letting in 4. So, sucks to be you. Off target, there were 2. Fair enough. 2 finesse goals, by the way. Oh, it was Cunha, and it was the I can't remember the other one. Nonetheless, it was Ahmad's finesse goal. That was so good. The goals though, Ahmad's goal, so good. But these are the stats from the shooting. From the passing, I would assume it wasn't as good. We had 104 passes. We misplaced 10 of them. Need to improve on that. They only misplaced 6 passes, which is outrageous. You can quite literally see with the through balls and the lobbed through balls, we were looking for those runners in behind. We were looking to be very direct. We didn't improve as much as what I would have wanted in the possession. I think it was 52-48 in Palace's favour. But in terms of the attention to what we were trying to pull off, the verticality of this game, it was incredibly well executed. Okay, people, to end off this video, we're going to run through some of the Youth Academy players that we can potentially look forward to in the near future. At the moment, we're scouting in Morocco, so we found some great young talent from Morocco. Most of them 90 and above with the potentials, which is outrageous. A lot of centre-backs, because you are looking for some good centre-backs to potentially come in. And also, I was also thinking, I'm not wanting to overdo the transfers for the January window, but we do have at least 5 players leaving, so we are going to have a very limited squad. So maybe, just maybe, 1 or 2 of these younger players might be bench full options, at least for the rest of the season after the January window. So they're going to come in and be great options for us. Going to train with the first team, going to get some, I was going to say get some minutes, but that's probably not going to happen. They might, maybe if there's an injury issue or something like that, they might be able to come in and really affect the game in a positive manner for us. Some of these players might have the option of stepping up. Now, a few episodes ago, I said that this man right here, Austin Young, is one to look out for. His development hasn't gone according to plan. However, Hodges, he is a kid that we should all keep our eyes on. 94 potential. That is his highest. That is his ceiling. He's only 15 years old, so maybe next season we might see a bit more of him. I am going to probably want to try and loan him out, but yes. So this is the youth academy that we currently have. Again, there are some incredible young talents. Some might not be here for the foreseeable future, like this man right here, which I'm quite sad about because when he first came in, he was looking great. This man right here, Mazawi, also he's falling away by the wayside. Young, we might have to shift him out. But that is our youth academy. I'm looking very forward to seeing what some of these youngsters might be able to produce. Now, you might be thinking, why is your goalkeeper so bad? I'm not looking to scout a goalkeeper for the youth academy. So Johnson, no matter how bad he is, he's going to be there so we can still participate in the youth academy tournaments. So yes, there is that too. Anyways, I hope you guys have had a smashing time watching me perform at my optimum best and still not lose games. Some of you will be thinking this guy is irritating because he doesn't lose any games. However, for you, I will say, I'm just that good. Anyways, until the next time, guys, until the next one, I hope you have a smashing goddamn day. Don't forget to comment down below who I should sign. I literally have that in like the first 5 minutes of this video. So for the left backs, Cardona or Oosterwolde, or one of those central midfielders as well. So that would be cool. Those are the only options. Don't fucking give me any other options. Those are the 7 or 8 options that I have. If you don't mind doing that, that would be great. Anyways, until the next time, until the next one, I hope you have a smashing goddamn day, and I'm out of here. Peace.